Hey guys, welcome back for another video. We got a good one prepared today. What we'll be doing is we'll be breaking down our first round of the college football playoffs we have coming up for the 2024 college football season. This is going to be our final predictions. The playoffs start this week. This is the first year of the 12-team playoffs. The four highest ranked winners of their conferences, they get bye weeks this week, but we have some really good matchups. Four really good intense matches between some really good teams, all trying to battle it out to make it to the next round of the playoffs. We're going to break down the very first game we have coming up is going to be this Friday. It's going to be the Indiana versus Notre Dame matchup. The independent Notre Dame versus the Big Ten Indiana. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below and I will respond. Every week we go over every single college football game. We're breaking down every bowl game. We are going to decide who wins this one, the final score, try to predict the outcome. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you're a football fan, if you're a sports fan in general, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can follow along with us this bowl and this playoff season. Like I said, this game's going to be at 8 p.m. on ABC this Friday, the first round game. Number 8 Indiana 11-1 versus number 5 Notre Dame 11-1. A battle of the 11-1s. Right now Notre Dame 7.5-point favorites. The over here is going to be 50.5. This is two teams that play elite level defense. When you have two really good defensive teams, two teams that are both ranked in the top 10 in total defense, this is going to be a lower scoring game and it's going to be decided in the trenches at the line of scrimmage. Who's going to get the most push on the offensive and the defensive lines? First off, you have to give a lot of props to Signetti and what he's done to Indiana. He's completely flipped his team, brought in a lot of transfers that he was familiar with from his last stop, and they fit this scheme and this team perfectly. You don't just come in here and you go 11-1 in the Big Ten. Yes, people can say they had a very easy schedule. This is still the Big Ten. This is one of the Power Four conferences. This is a conference competing with the SEC for the best, the deepest conference, and they went 11-1. Their only loss was to a top 10 Ohio State Buckeyes team. Right now, Indiana, they're averaging 43.3 points per game. But Notre Dame here, they have a 70.4% chance to win this game. Everyone's picking Notre Dame, but you can say the same thing about Notre Dame that you can about Indiana, that they haven't played anyone this season. The one lone top 25 victory they had was versus Army, and Army just lost their bowl game. They're not going to finish the season in the top 25 technically. Right now, Rourke having a good season, closing in on 2,900 yards, 27 touchdowns, 4 picks, very efficient at the quarterback position. They're throwing for 276.9, running for 173.6, so they're averaging just under 500 yards of total offense every game, and their defense only giving up 14.7 points a game. That is a top 10 statistical defense. But the main stat on the defensive side that stands out to me there is the rush yards given up per game. They're only giving up 70.8 rush yards per game. That is top 5 in the nation out of 134 Division I teams. They only give up 70.8. They were able to somewhat control the Ohio State Buckeyes rush offense. That was technically when their offensive line was even healthier. This is a pretty good defensive line. They're going to get after it, but this is going to be strength on strength. Notre Dame can run the ball. Can Indiana slow down Notre Dame's run game and take them out of their element? Notre Dame does not want to be a pass-first team. They do not want to get forced into third and long situations. Riley Leonard is not a very accurate quarterback. It is what it is. He's been that way since he was at Duke. He's just not a great passer, but he can run, and when the run game is working consistently, he can hit the play-action passes. But their entire offense under Denbrock is based around the run game. Can Indiana, one of the best rush defenses, slow that down, bottle up Leonard, bottle up Love, keep them in the pocket and force them into those third and long situations? It's going to be easier said than done. Looking at Indiana's playmakers, they have Ellison, they have Surratt, and of course, you're going to have Rourke slinging the ball. They want to get the run game going as well, but Notre Dame's defense is really good on the defensive line. They're going to try to cause a lot of disruption in the backfield. Can they get to Rourke? Can they try to cause some chaos? Looking at the Indiana side, Riley Leonard closing in on 2,100 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, 5 picks, but it's obviously what he can do with his legs. He has 14 rushing touchdowns, almost as many rushing touchdowns as he has passing touchdowns. Technically, one of the better mobile quarterbacks in all of college football. They're averaging 39.8, throwing for 203.3, running for 224.8 yards per game. That is a top 15 rushing team in the nation. That's why I said this is strength on strength. One of the best rush defenses versus technically, statistically, one of the best rushing offenses in the nation. Right now, they're only giving up 13.6 points a game. That is a top 10 defense nationally. They get after it. They are deep on the defensive line. They have a great secondary, but it's the chaos they can cause up front Game is going to be decided in the trenches at the line of scrimmage. They give up 176 passing yards a game, 138.8 rushing yards per game. They do give up some yardage on the ground. 140 rushing yards given up per game. It's not the worst, but it's technically not the best. They cause a lot of chaos, but sometimes when you get into the backfield, you can get burned on the ground because you open up some holes because you're so aggressive on defense. But this is a pretty good coaching staff. Freeman, Golden, Denbrock, some pretty accomplished coordinators there. Very well coached team, very expensive team. And of course, they have Jeremiah Love at the running back position. He's closing in on 1,000 yards. They have Collins. This is probably their deepest wide receiver core. It's not a great wide receiver core, but they have just enough because they can run the ball. Whenever you can run the ball for 225 yards per game, that's going to open up those passes because it's going to open up the play action. Right now, like we said, Notre Dame comes in here. They are 7.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 50.5. This is one of those games to me that just screams it's going to be really close first half. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 7-3 game by the end of the first half. It's going to be a slow slogging game. Notre Dame's going to be very physical. Does Indiana have the depth? With this being a newly built roster, do they have the depth to compete over 4 quarters versus Notre Dame? You have to compete with them not for 1, not for 2, not for 3, 4 quarters in the line of scrimmage. Sometimes second half, that's where teams start to get wore down. Late third, early fourth, that's when Notre Dame starts to gash you on the ground. I can see that happening this game. I think Indiana will be able to keep it pretty close for the most part. But I think it's going to be a game where Notre Dame pulls away on the ground. That's where they make the difference here. And I do have this game being a little on the lower side. So the outcome that I have, who do I think is going to win this game? Both teams very capable. This is a very under-the-radar game. Do not underestimate Indiana, or they will burn you. I'm going to go with Notre Dame pulling off the win here, winning this one 25-17, and it's going to be won in the second half, but it's going to be a lower-scoring game. Appreciate and respect Indiana. However, do not overlook that Indiana defense. So that's the outcome for our very first game. We're going to be doing all the other ones coming up by the time that we get to game day. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like the video. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.